sticking with the theme of diabetes advocacy, we've got a topic that's often talked about in the community. Responsibility versus burden is the name of the next presentation, which will be given by Eman from Egypt. Welcome, Eman.
Hi there. I'm so proud of being here, and I feel like I will be adding to everyone else, honestly speaking, because we all are advocates within our own context. Um, I'll be sharing with you the slides. Let me know
Yes,
if you
you
get to
have
see
some
it.
slides. We have them on screen now. So I'm going to quickly hop off stage and let you take the lead here.
Thank you so much. So, first of all, my name is Imen, and I have this cute name that I haven't thought about thoroughly on social media, which is Iman Diabetic Diaries. Simple put, I felt absolutely alone, and I've been diabetic since type 1 since I was very young, almost 30 years back. And that's how or why my name or the social media name is driven by. It's just how I'm dealing with the disease every single day. Establishing the platform or the Iman Diabetic Diaries has been honestly insightful, because I thought that I'm just sharing out there my experience, but I got a lot of empowerment out of it as well. So today, being diabetic type 1, living with the disease, and also dedoc voice, where I had the opportunity to attend a conference in Abu Dhabi last year, where I got to meet and greet with a lot of fellows living with the condition, made me realize that we need to, before we do the advocacy work and the influencer work, and we need to actually somehow acknowledge and distinguish the responsibility versus burden. And I'm talking from a personal perspective, from a personal experience, as an advocate of diabetes and also a full-time employee. And this is how I just wanted to give you an insight about who I am, why I'm tackling this topic in particular. Um, Before I dig deeper into all aspects of the mental and livelihood struggles that I face on daily basis, it's known that we all have to provide for ourselves. Even people living with diabetes who are children, at a certain point they are required to support themselves. And not only that, it's like there is a burden that is not seen by many. However, we have it. And at the same time, if we chose to be an advocate online or on social media, and or advocates within our own context, we need to know for fact the kind of struggles we're facing. And this is why I'm talking about this topic in particular. So for instance, and this is just a few examples of the struggles that we can face. Also, it's very personal and subjective, but the emotional and the psychological aspect of it, living with a chronic disease, has been rather than a lonely journey, but has been a very long journey. Also, with the financial burden, with everything that is happening in the world, and the devaluation and devaluation, I'm talking about my country, like this happened in Egypt, but also the inflation rate that has been up in the sky, that affected also the prices of the medications, the technology of monitoring our blood glucose levels, and the daily management and routine, and finally the education and awareness. And I'll be talking bits and pieces about every aspect of it, and I'm sure people can relate, and the audience or those who are living with diabetes or the caregivers can relate in a way or other. Um, Emotional and psychological also has to do with roles and responsibilities, not only of advocates, but also maybe it's more leaning towards responsibility, because for some reason, and I guess I don't have enough space to talk about it right now, but diabetes, as any other chronic disease, mainly has been perceived as an illness without and regarding of or regardless of any other aspects like the family, the somatic approaches to the disease itself or to handling it on daily basis. That's why it actually falls under the emotional and psychological struggles. diabetes is not only about measuring your blood glucose levels on daily basis before meals and after meals, but it has a toll on your lifestyle, a toll on your relationships, and a toll on even your productivity at work. When it comes to financial burden, I'm sure everyone can relate for the same reasons I've mentioned earlier. And also something that is more relevant to diabetes, and I'm talking again from a personal perspective, the technology and medication or insulin in itself as a liquid that I use to live and survive is comparing to other medication is very pricey, is very expensive, not to mention if it's more expensive on those who can afford it living in developing countries or non-developing countries or developed countries. Also, the daily management and routine. Um, in so many ways, the daily and the details of managing a chronic disease like diabetes may go unnoticed, but it is important. It affects our performance, and it affects also how we interact with others, how we interact with ourselves. And maybe on this note, this is one of the main things that made me actually thought about this theme to talk about, because once I established the my presence online, I started to realize that I'm actually ignoring some of the aspects that I need to pay attention to, whether emotional, whether psychological, whether also the daily routine. It's very important to acknowledge that because it does consume your time and your energy. And the burden of being educated, also the being educated with the updates. One thing I want to mention, that what I offer online through Iman Diabetic Diaries presence online, whether on YouTube or Instagram or Facebook, is in Arabic. And this is one of the struggles I personally face. It doesn't have to be something shared, but maybe we don't have enough resources in different languages. Like I can see from other colleagues and people living with diabetes and advocates, they have resources, especially that it's available in English. And then maybe that's what I do, is to transfer it. But initially, and as a benchmark, we don't have a lot of resources related to diabetes in Arabic. Um, so this is like a statistics. To me, somehow I felt that I need, even tackling the topic itself, I felt the need to find some resources and some statistics to for me to be um, believed somehow. And whenever I go through them, I feel, oh, it is a global issue. It is a global issue as per the WHO. It's not something that we here as a community of people living with diabetes are exaggerating. And when it comes to this, people living with diabetes are, for some reason, I cannot see the slide. Oh yeah, have medical like the expenses or the consumption that they need to do in order to be well and surviving is 2.6 higher than anyone who would have a normal life or not having a chronic disease like diabetes. Or let me be specific, diabetes. 40% are approximately of people living with diabetes experience anxiety and disorders. And 30% report that their condition has impacted their work productivity. How I can see it, or how I'm trying to tackle it and approach it and share it actually with the community here as a dedoc voice and as an advocate myself, is that it has a toll on your life. Whatever you are doing on the side or as a business or actually for a living, it has a toll on your life. And it's very important to understand that so you can do your work better as an advocate or anything else. So here I'm left with questioning. Okay, Iman, we know what's going on. We know the impact. We know. Let's talk about something more positive. It is in itself something positive because we're left with challenges, but we know because of also living with diabetes some like how to go around it because of this network like DDoc, like how to manage on daily basis the very smallest details that would reflect on our character. um, I would say it in one word or in one phrase: know your worth and act upon it. Personally, this worked with me. as again a full-time employee and an advocate who consumes a lot of time in content creation and to deliver the right message at the right time and also in a very empathetic manner. um, I have to say also I had to let go and quit a full-time job so I can do what I'm really passionate about and that I can relate to. And actually, I'm trying to make it into something that would benefit everyone else on a larger scale in my own community. And I'm inspired by everyone who speaks before me in doing that. But the thing is, I had to choose. I had to choose between doing what I'm passionate about and being also an advocate in diabetes and also taking care of myself and a full time job that would ensure financial stability. And I made the right choice, and I hope it stays and remains a right one. In order to tackle the solutions, or let's say the approaches, and everyone can actually implement it in their own context. When I say know your worth, I mean know your worth within your context. You might not have a social presence online, but you have a position at a certain industry or a certain company where you can actually change and do better advocacy work and speak your voice and your mind. And that entails that for the first point is to identify and acknowledge, identify your worth, your place. What are you doing in life? How can you leverage on that to make diabetes seen as it should be? Whether it's and I'll be also like referring to the next point, raising awareness within your context again. Whether we you are working in a pharmaceutical company, why not ask for patient support kind of programs? Why not, even if you don't have role on the social media or presence, but everyone is an advocate in their own way. And balancing that, you need to know it is difficult, however, it's attainable. Um, Also, raising awareness about that living with diabetes within your own circle. It doesn't have to be work, it can be family, it can be your partner, it can be, and that entails also passing or not passing, but also working on the stigma, which a lot of initiatives have been tackling that. I personally, once I created the online presence through Eman Diabetic Diaries, a lot of stigmas were gone just because I was empowered. And the more empowerment, the more you real to yourself. And finally, the financial support. Sorry, finally, is the enhanced support system, not the financial support. I believe that everything combined would definitely lead to financial independency, sorry. But when it comes to enhance the support system, you're not alone. Other than saying that as a motto, but it is a fact um, through your own advocacy work, whatever you do it, however you do it. Let me just go through my notes here, because when it comes to the sorry, when it comes to the enhanced support system, it entails more than finding a support system, but also creating one. So you can um, exchange information. Know, like we're doing right now, know that there is in India an advocacy project that you can leverage on within your context. Eventually, I would like to wrap up with a personal favorite quote of mine, driven by my work in advocacy, that people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do. It's my motto. I believe in it, and I hope you do as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you for sharing all that, Iman. Loved this quote at the end. Our next guest is waiting in the wings, but very quickly, we do have two questions. Perhaps we can bundle them into one and you can answer in 2 or 3 sentences.
Sure.
So the first one is from Azra. In Egypt, how do people with diabetes access technology? And from Caro in Germany, are there any stigma regarding social aspects in Egypt, how people are seen there?
Definitely, we share with people in Egypt. Maybe it's even more complicated than the Western world, for example. I'm talking about the stigma part or the stigma question, because we do have, it's a controversial, not controversial, but it's conservative kind of context, and that makes the situation even more complicated, especially for women. And one of the things that I've tackled so many times when it comes to getting married or choosing a partner is something that people are very concerned and unmindful about. Even families themselves would hide the fact that I live with diabetes or someone else's in order to be accepted and actually getting this opportunity of marriage.
Oh, wow.
And as for the technology and access to technology, it's again, it's very pricey. The health insurance doesn't support that, like in Egypt, only for kids who are still at the schooling age. But once you are out of school, you are not supported nor when it comes to the insulin itself, nor access to technology. And when I say technology, the one thing that people at school are, or children at school are, um, have access to is the pump. But when it comes, and this actually, to do that, it needs some formalities, and actually having a case in the court is just formalities, but eventually it's not an easy one. And as for us employees, mothers, fathers, or people living with diabetes above the age of 16 and 18, they have no support when it comes to covering to the expenses or access to
Oh, wow.
the technology. We have to do it ourselves, unless if you're working at a reputable entity and you have a private insurance with this entity, with this industry, with this company, then it might be covered. It might be covered. Insulin, yes, most probably. Access or CGM, absolutely not. Not
Wow.
still something.
That seems unimaginable for so many of us. Thank you so much for joining us and sharing.
Thank you, Morgan.
Always. Bye.